You know what I mean? Like, we would never meet with Tekashi 6ix9ine. You know what I mean?
Really? Okay. I want to know why not.
Because he's just so offensive, and he's so like the language and like just the way he acts and the way he treats different people.
He was really nice in his interviews though. Yo, Mike, what's up?
What's up,
Hey,
bro?
you can hear me properly?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, what were you up to today, man?
Normal day of work, bro. Just working on a few projects for Gary.
Oh, okay, tight. Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to do this, man. I feel like I got to give you context, but then also the audience context on like why this interview is even happening. So you're at A3C week for Gary's talk, right? And I sat in the front row of that, and basically I really just wanted to give Gary my pitch, but then also ask him a hip-hop related question, right? And my question was just basically about like, if I hustled my way into interviewing like Zaytoven and Shoreline Mafia and stuff, how can I take that approach and use it on like DaBaby and Lil Uzi Vert, right? So although Gary gave me my answer, what he pretty much mentioned is that for the past 10 years, you, like Mike Boyd, have been helping him with anything music related, right? And he just said that you put him on to artists like Gunna and Keed before they blew up. My brother basically, he told me, you know what, like go to Gary Vee's meet and greet and try to ask him to interview him, right? But I figured like that's not realistic, and I really just wanted to interview you. So Gary said, you know what, go interview Mike Boyd, and then I want to see it, and then you can interview me. So I want to interview.
Gary said that?
Gary literally said that to me. Yeah. Yeah. It was so funny. He's like, my man, go do it. Go interview Mike. I'm going to see it. Then you're going to interview me. So, I mean, I guess here we are.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so then now you have some context, right? But so let's talk about what you currently do. I know you're like an OG in music, but what do you currently do?
Currently, I am artist relations, music strategy for Gary, like Gary's brand. So when you watch a Gary Vaynerchuk YouTube video where he's meeting with a musician, I set up those meetings, and then I make sure the relationships stay alive, make sure that we're like on good grounds with everybody. And then also VaynerMedia has an ad agency, so a lot of times I'm called in to work on different projects with different brands that are in the music space. You know, like for example, a brand might want to go after people in Atlanta, so we'll go after Atlanta artists, you know. So like it just depends on what the brand's trying to do, but then I get called in to like help out and help strategize with it, and then also like to help utilize our relationships. But that's my main focus at work, and then also we run a playlist. Me and Gary have a playlist that's updated every Monday to Monday. Right. And then I manage Richie Souf, the producer Richie Souf, and we're about to start a podcast. So that's like, those are the main things that I'm
You and Richie, or just you?
Just me.
Okay.
Me and like Gary's behind it.
Oh, is it going to be like more of a music like related thing?
Yeah.
That's tight. That's so tight. I'm so excited for that. Well, so we're going to come back to what you currently do, because I feel like you have more than just one hat, right? I heard you start working at a music label. I just wanted to know more about like, how did you actually enter the music industry?
My first music industry job was in college. I worked for Warner Music Group as the college rep for the city of Boston.
So would you handle like artists coming to the university, or?
No, I would handle artists. Well, I would bring artists to the university. Like I brought Janelle Monáe to the university to meet with the students before her show that was near our campus. But I met Gary through his brother AJ, and basically Gary like asked me to work with him on the spot, because I told him I was a hustler. I was going to go get it. I was going to outwork everybody, whatever. And he was like, oh yeah, work for me. So I started working with him right away. So
what was your spiel to him? I'm sure you remember like the exact words.
I don't.
You don't?
But he tweeted something. He was like, if you're a real hustler and you're really about that or whatever. I don't know what his words were, but it was a tweet. He's like, let me know. And then I hit AJ, because I knew AJ. And I said, hey, I want to meet your brother. You know, I'm like really trying to hustle and get it. So met Gary. He gave me a job on the spot. Well, he asked me on the spot. He's like, you want to work here or not? I said yes. And so We started like the next day.
Were you working for free at the time, like as an intern kind of, or?
No, no, I moved to New York with like nothing. So my first paycheck from VaynerMedia paid my rent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, you got that role with Gary. Let's talk about your managing career. So you manage Richie Souf, right? Is that like, does he work with a lot of Freebandz people?
Yeah, Freebandz, YSL. He works a lot with Future, a lot with Young Thug, a lot with Playboy Cardi, Juice WRLD, Made in Tokyo, A Boogie. We have a song with Kevin Gates right now. Just people like that. A lot of Atlanta people though.
So did you
Gunna, Lil Keed.
Did you kind of like build Richie Souf, or did you find him at a point where he was kind of already working with these artists and you're like, you know what, I can take you to the next level?
Things just started really picking up for Richie, and he was asking me for help, and I was like, hey bro, I want to help you, but also like I was managing other people. I was like, I'm going to have to literally be your manager. Otherwise, like I'm spending so much time with you. Yeah. It's like hurting the rest of my business, you know?
Yeah.
Like I can't just work. I was working for free basically, but I was like, it got to a point where I was like, you know, if you want to take it seriously with me, then we got to like do it officially.
Right. And man, when I was at A3C, there were so many like managers that I met, like some that were managing big artists, some that were managing like nobodies, right? But one thing they all had in common was like they were so stressed. I'm like, yo, like holy shit, like dude, I've never seen anybody in the music industry like have a role that's that stressful, you know? So I don't know, man. How did you feel going into managing in general?
Well, I used to manage, so I started off managing artists and video director, and I only have Richie now. But managing Richie is not too stressful because he's a really smart person who like handles his business, you know? He's not like doing things to stress me out. Whereas like sometimes you manage an artist and they're like, you know, living a wild lifestyle, and it stresses you out because you're trying to like make sure that they are successful, but sometimes they do things that could throw it all away, you know?
Exactly. I mean, I think if you're an artist, it is kind of stressful because, well, the thing about an artist is at least you have all creative control, right? If something goes wrong, then like, all right, that's whatever. But if you're the manager, you're like doing all the stressful parts of, you know, for the artist. And then you can get fired at like the snap of a finger. You know what I'm saying?
Worst case scenario, no matter what, if I'm a manager, I'll get to meet people. I'll get to see how the game is played from that side of the table.
That's true.
And I'll get to like learn a whole lot. So like, I didn't care if it lasted for 6 months, or I've probably been a manager for 6 years now.
Wow.
But
with different artists.
But like, it didn't really matter to me. It was more about experience.
Right, and like building relationships, I guess.
I mean, I wanted to like get plaques. I wanted to like, you know, be as successful as possible. But it was like being realistic. I was like, worst case scenario, I'm gonna learn something.
Right. I think me and you are alike in the fact that like we're both two really innocent dudes, like the way we look too, and we've dealt with a bunch of rappers, right? I know that personally, ever since I started the media outlet Kids Take Over, is like I've been mistreated a lot of times when it came to like managers and, you know, like rude artists and stuff. But what are like some of the worst experiences that you've gotten into within like your managing career?
What do you mean? Like as far as like what would be an example of like a bad?
Well, so for example, let's say I had this interview. I'm obviously not going to say a name because that's going to get me in trouble. But like I had this interview and the artist showed up super late. I'm talking like 6 hours late, right? And then the manager called me on the phone like cussing me out, like, yo, we didn't know that it was at this time or whatever. And then they'd show up and they'd just say really rude things in the interview and stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel like being a manager, you must have dealt with similar things, you know?
Yeah, man. Things aren't easy, you know? So I just kind of like if someone's in a bad mind space, or like someone like acts a little rude, I just let it go and say that, you know, maybe they're having a bad day.
Right.
And you know, people are late, people are disrespectful of your time for sure, but like, as long as you know that it's going to be like that, it doesn't really hurt your feelings, you know? Like, I know that if I try to do 10 things, maybe like 6 of them will fail. But like it's kind of like doing stuff with Gary, like booking these meetings. You know, like if we had all the time in the world, we meet with all the best artists, but we don't. You know, so like Meg Thee Stallion, meet Gary and Meg still haven't had a proper sit down.
Why do you think that
is? It's just scheduling.
Oh.
Gary's just as busy as a lot of these artists, maybe even busier than some of them. You know what I mean? And then the artists are crazy busy. So to be able to get 2 people that are that crazy busy together, it's tough. So like, you know, it's just, I'm sure that I've been in bad situations, but I never felt like it was really like personal. You know what I mean?
What about things like, because I know you're really like dipped into the Atlanta scene. Just by like seeing music videos or like behind the scenes videos, I can kind of see that there's a lot, like lean culture is like really big in Atlanta. Like weapons, things like that. Like, have you ever been in a situation where, because you look like a really innocent dude, right? Like, have you ever been in a situation where there was like a lot of drugs involved or weapons or things like that?
Yeah, for sure. It was unique because, you know, it's like first time being in like this type of trap house or this or that, but we shot a music video in 40 minutes and with Young Thug and Pee-wee Longway, and Rich the Kid was there, and Jose Guapo, and Hood Rich Keem, and it was a whole cool crew, mix of people, but you know, everyone was there for the best video possible. No one was like playing around.
How did this whole Young Thug thing happen, and like what year was this?
It was 2013.
Oh, this is like before. This is like when he was doing "I Came From Nothing," like the old project.
It was pretty old. It was like when Stoner was really hot.
Okay, weird.
And I just went up to Thug. I saw him in Atlanta. I went up to him. I was like, "Yo, we'll shoot a video for Stoner right now." And he was with it, but we ended up not having enough time, in his opinion, to properly shoot Stoner.
Yeah. So
we ended up shooting a song called "Load It." And if you watch the music video on YouTube, you'll see like there's tons of stuff in the video, like how you were describing. But it was chill. We showed up, shot the video, and left.
How did you end up being in a place where you could just go up to Young Thug? You know, like you don't just see that dude on the street every day. You know what I'm saying?
Well, when artists are starting out, in my experience, they're always pretty humble. So like, you know, like when I go up to an artist early in their career, and I'm like, hey, you're going to be huge, you know, like, hey, like, you know, I've done it a bunch of times, but like I go up to a young artist and I'm like, hey, you know, I love your music. Like, I really believe in you, blah, 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 blah. Let me know if I can help you with anything. A lot of times they're like, really? You believe in me? Like, what? Like, you think I'm talented? Like, that was the reaction. That's always the reaction that I've found. I found that it's always like that with someone who's really successful or going to become successful. They're always humble. They're always just like, they don't know how good they are, or maybe they're just taken back that someone else believes so heavily.
Yeah, that's just, when you said Young Thug, I was like, oh, you said that so casually, but that's dope how like you found such a big artist like at the peak time to meet them, you know what I'm saying? How did you stay so in touch with the Atlanta scene and know like just the right moment when someone's gonna pop off?
I'd say the way to do it is to pay attention to like important people and whatever. Sorry, I almost just dropped the phone.
Shit. It's all good. It's all good.
What I mean by that is like, when I heard Thug and when I met Thug, it was like, he's so creative. The way he raps is just so unique that it was like, of course he's gonna make it. But
really,
it's really just like pay.
Are you sure about that? Because when Thug came out and he released like the song like Hookah with Tyga, right? I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, people were not liking it. People were like, "Yo, this is the worst thing possible." Like,
well, I think a lot of people did like him.
Really?
But the thing is that probably just as many people liked him as didn't like him, right? You know what I mean?
Okay, right.
But a lot of times people don't like stuff that ends up becoming huge, you know, because it's different. You know, like when you're able to like get emotions out of people, that's a good thing, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Emotions, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So,
but
yeah, you were saying.
You know, I mean, that's just one song, you know, and I think that was Tyga's song, right?
Yeah, Young Thug was featured on it.
Yeah, so like, you can't judge someone off one song.
That's true.
But I mean, I don't know. That song was pretty popular.
No, it was popular, but that was like in Tyga's prime. It was gonna get views regardless, and there was like a bunch of girls in the video. You know, it's gonna get views. But yeah. So I mean, with the rest of YSL, like I know, I think Gary mentioned that you were really early on Lil Keed and Gunna. Tell me about that. Is that just because you kind of knew of Young Thug and you just like watched who he was around?
Gunna, my producer, actually put me on to him and his music.
Richie?
Yeah, Richie. Richie was like, yo, there's this new guy. He's dope. Like, you got to check him out. Like I said before, like I listened to it and I was like, oh my God, this is so good. And that's the thing is like the whole point of our playlist. There's there's multiple reasons we have a playlist, but one of the reasons is to support good music.
Okay.
So like when I personally first came across Lil Keed, I was like, damn, he's really talented. Let me support his music. You know, when I came across Tierra Whack, I was like, oh my God, she's like amazing. Let me support her music. So like, we're supporting people with the playlist. That's the whole point. And we update it every week. So I'm always finding new artists. And the cool thing, in my opinion, is whether they make it or not, we're just supporting good music. So it's a win-win for everyone.
That's an interesting approach. I think it's different for me. Like, you know, for you, you said that as long as an artist is talented, you'll put them on the playlist and it's a win-win, right? I think for me, like, I've had a bit of struggles trying to interview people who aren't famous, because I mostly try to interview people who are established, you know, and obviously it'll like draw more views to my channel. I feel like if they blow up, you know, I'll get all the credit. But if I post an interview with someone and they're not famous, but I think they're talented, let's say it doesn't get views, it just like looks bad on me, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I think like I used to do interviews with artists, and I think that like if you're picking the right artist and they're talented, like the views will go up, you know, like over time. You know what I mean?
Over
like,
time, okay, right.
Like if that artist makes it, or if like more people find out about the artist. But
right.
I think you're doing it the right way. Just interview who you like, or don't. Like I said before, just because you like them doesn't mean they're actually good.
Oh, that's
like,
true.
Like,
that's
you
true.
gotta be thinking like, oh, is this artist good? You know what I mean?
But I interviewed like I literally an hour before this interview that I'm doing with you, I put out one with Suave. I'm not sure if you know him.
Is he from Atlanta?
Yeah, he signed to Metro Boomin.
Yeah, he's dope.
Okay, yeah, so I just put out the interview with him, and I love his music. Like, I'm serious, I think he's so dope, and he's gonna blow up because of the whole EXO and Metro Boomin thing. But yeah, it's like, you know, it's not getting that much views. And
no, I'd say that's a good one. That's a good one, man. Like, he's the type of person I'd introduce to Gary.
Okay, I mean, you're right. I think it's more so what you said about, like, over time, it might get views, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and even if it doesn't, as long as you're interviewing good artists, like, that's all you can do.
Mm-hmm. True. That's true. You made a good point.
But also, you got to be careful because, like one time there was this guy, I won't say any names, but he's, like, a pretty popular person in the hip-hop scene, and he was promoting this artist. And at the time I didn't live in Atlanta or anything. And so I was like, I couldn't understand. I was like, is that artist really that popular? Uh-huh. And so I DM'd him and I was like, hey bro, is he really that popular? Like he's that good? And then the person told me, he's like, nah, I'm just getting paid to do this.
Oh my God, that's weird.
Yeah. So like, yeah. it's like you gotta really trust your gut. Like, because the game is crazy.
How big are we talking, that artist?
Oh, shit. Well, the artist is no longer popular. Because I knew the artist wasn't that good. It was like, but I guess he had a lot of money behind him and they were paying people to talk about him. Right.
You're talking about how much he trusts your ear, right? But that's when it comes to playlisting. When it comes to things like setting up a meeting, right? Does he completely trust your ear if you're like, yo, Gary, I found this new artist. His name is, like, let's just say Suave, right? Does he completely trust you and just move forward with it, or does he actually go and listen to the artist and then be like, okay, you know what, Mike, you're right, we'll set up this meeting?
Gary will say stuff about an artist that I don't even know.
No, right.
You know what I mean? Like he'll like mention a song lyric, or he'll like say something about their life, or he'll say something, and I'm like, whoa, like,
how did you know that?
How'd you even know that, bro?
Yeah.
Like, Gary really is passionate. The thing is, Gary's really passionate about music. He's passionate about music and sports and a handful of other things, but
and the Jets.
But yeah, I mean, he trusts me. That's my job. If I say this artist is about to pop, then we meet them ASAP.
Let's say you introduced him to someone like Supreme Patty or like Bad Baby, right? Has he ever been like, Mike, I'm sorry, bro, but that's not it?
No, but I don't do dumb stuff like that.
You really got to think about it?
Oh yeah. Because also, unlike a hip hop radio station or a blog or a publication or a magazine, like Gary owns an ad agency.
Yeah.
So like we don't just meet with just anyone because like, you know what I mean? Like we would never meet with Tekashi 6ix9ine. You know what I mean?
Really? Okay. I want to know why not?
Because he's just so offensive and he's so like the language and like just the way he acts and the way he treats different people, like it was just wrong and off. And like, you know what I mean? Like if you were following his career, you could tell that there was something going on with him or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like Gary has an agency that's full of like 900 employees. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like that guy, he did like radio show interviews. He met with this blog, that blog, whatever. But like, you know, we don't do that. Like we don't really meet with people that are too troublesome.
He was really nice in his interviews though.
Yeah.
Right?
But we don't do that.
You just don't do that? No, I mean, I get that. Are there any stories of, like, meetings that kind of, like, went the wrong way and, like, didn't end up on YouTube? Because I've actually seen a bunch of, like, artists that I follow, and they'll post something on their Instagram, like, yo, I'm at Gary Vee's office or whatever. But then I never see the video coming out.
Yeah, it's either, like, delayed and maybe you miss it, or what happens a lot is that people don't want to be filmed.
Why would you show up? What the heck?
They just show up to do a talk, man. Like, I think one artist didn't want to be filmed because he didn't like the way he looked. Like, I don't know if he liked the clothes he was wearing. One artist, sometimes a lot of the bigger artists don't want to be. It also depends on the conversation, you know. Like sometimes we really break it down. Like Gary will say, hey, you know, like, tell me how much money you're making. Tell me like what your plans are. Tell me like how I could actually help you. You know what I mean? Like, and we turn the cameras off and the artist will be like, well, I'm making this much for a show, this much for a feature, but I'm trying to get it up to this and I'm trying to like change my life this way. And like, you know what I mean? Like it gets really serious. And that's like stuff that like people don't really want to share with the world, you know?
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So we don't put that stuff out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So at this point of the interview, I want to treat you in a sense where like you're Gary Vee and you're going to give me advice. Okay. So,
can you see when I keep getting these text messages?
No, I can't see it.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so at this point, I'm going to ask you for some advice. Okay. So, all right. My hip hop media outlet is called Kids Take Over, right? I'm 19 years old and I believe that like kids can achieve anything through the internet nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally got my interviews with Zaytoven and like all those artists by like shooting a shitload of DMs and like emails, right? So at that point, like, you know, I really wanted to be a journalist when I was in high school. Everyone told me no, like I didn't get hired and stuff. So I was like, you know what, fuck this. I'm going to start my own thing, right? In the same way, you started a blog. It was called Hip Hop at Lunch, correct?
Yeah. So like,
what were some of your biggest takeaways in starting like a hip hop media outlet that you can give to me?
That's how I started building most of my relationships, man. Doing interviews, like how you're doing it. Like that's how I got to know everyone, you know. So I don't regret any of it, you know. Like I introduced Gary to Nipsey Hussle. I don't remember when it was, but I had originally met him and interviewed him, I think 3 times, like between 2009 and whenever, you know what I mean? So like, or like, kind of like that story of what I told you about how I talked to Young Thug about doing the stoner video. Yeah. Like when you're early with people, like how you just mentioned, like sometimes you do an interview and it doesn't get a lot of views, but the point of the interview also is to create a connection with that artist. So if that artist does blow up, they'll remember that you were willing to do an interview with them when he wasn't getting views. Or when he or she weren't getting views, you know, like that means a lot. Like if you were to interview Drake or someone of that stature, you know what I mean? Like they're not going to be like, oh wow, you really put your neck out for me doing this interview.
Yeah.
But like you interview this small artist that needs you, or I playlist a small artist that needs plays, then they're like, oh wow, you know, you definitely did not have to do that. You actually like my music. And you're putting your name out there for me. So like, I think interviewing people is one of the best ways to build connections with people who it's like, you know, mutually beneficial, you know?
Right. I think that's actually exactly what Gary said. Like my question to him during A through C was, how do I make a jump from like Shoreline Mafia or whatever to like the Baby and stuff, and he like that's what he said. He said you should try to find the next big artist because in a sense like you're doing them a favor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah,
you're bringing value. You're bringing some type of value.
Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't bring any value to Drake at this point. I don't think so. So one other question I want to ask you is like basically my outlet, my media outlet, it has three like series, right? Just how Gary has like Daily Vee, like, you know, things like that. So my three shows are this thing called One-on-One, and that's basically like an in-person interview series, right? When artists come to Vancouver, I'll interview them, and those will get the most views because they're with the most established artists. And then there's another series called Facetime, all right? Facetime is what I'm doing with you right now. It'll usually be with people who are like industry professionals, even artists, but basically the whole point is like I can interview people and I don't have to be in New York in front of you, you know what I'm saying? So those ones, they get like a decent amount of views, and then they'll get like articles written on it like by Complex and stuff, right? But then cool. Yeah, but then there's this third series, it's called Behind the Scenes, right? This is what I want your opinion on. Behind the Scenes is like where I document the come up of like how was a 19-year-old kid building a media outlet, right? How is he getting all these interviews? Like what am I doing wrong? What can I inspire the youth by? But those videos probably get the least amount of views. You know what I'm saying? They get the least amount of views, but the core fans enjoy it the most. Like I'll get DMs and like people telling me like, yo, you inspired me so much with this video. Like make more, this is what differentiates you, right? But yeah, they get the least amount of views. So I sometimes get nervous. I'm like, oh man, I feel like I should just focus on the interviewing and not even do these behind the scenes videos. So I don't know. What do you think?
In the behind the scenes videos, do you have guests or it's always just you?
No, like it'll be like this. So I'll be like narrating things, but let's for example, I have a behind the scenes video called Chaos at a Juice WRLD concert, and it was pretty much like I had an interview with Juice WRLD, right? And right when I was about to interview him, like a bunch of fans mobbed him, and there was like a shooting at his concert, right? So I documented that whole entire thing, right? I got my camera people to film it, but then I will like narrate it in between. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
But even things like that, it's like they won't get enough views because I'm not speaking with an artist.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, when you have a guest and the guest helps promote, you know, obviously they're going to get a lot more views, I would assume so. Mm-hmm. But if people are liking the behind the scenes stuff, definitely keep doing it. I say just do all three, you know, do all three like you've been doing it, and like one of them will probably catch, you know, mm-hmm. Or, I mean, I don't know what your end goal is, but it seems like you're already successful, you know, so like just keep doing it.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, I think it's successful. It's just that like it doesn't even out. Like one video, like let's say I interviewed Shoreline Mafia. That one got like 125,000, right? Then let's say I interviewed Ronnie J, the producer. I'm sure you know about him. And that one got like 15,000, right? The behind the scenes will get like 3,000. You know what I'm talking about? So like, I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't add up, or might not be like, it's not really helping me grow. What's helping me grow is those interviews that get a bunch of views and traction, you know? Mm-hmm. It's kind of just like satisfying the people that are already subscribed to me. So is that even worth it at that point?
I think so, especially if you said that people like it the most. Mm-hmm. You know?
Right. Okay, word. That's true.
Yeah, I maybe even do more if people are liking it. You know, I think it's more about engagement than views, really.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And also the reason I started it is because I was thinking like when I start my media outlet, what's going to be my differentiator? There's a ton of like Complex interviews people, Genius interviews people, Gary Vee interviews people, but like what's going to make me different, right?
One thing I did was that I would ask the artists about their music and about their lyrics. And I don't know how many people really do that. And what I also mean by it is like I asked Young Scooter when I interviewed him, I said, I was like, you have a song called Down Bad. I was like, what were you going through when you wrote the lyrics like about how he couldn't pay rent or something, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like he really like explained it and like went into detail and blah 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 blah. People are happy that you took the time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like that was one thing. I spent a lot of time prepping. How you said like sometimes like you get like stood up or like artists don't show or this or that. Like, let's say I did 100 interviews, I probably prepped for 300. You know what I mean? Because like I got blown off that many times. But like that's just the game. You know what I mean? Like that's just the game.
Yeah, I can relate.
So, yeah, sometimes I'd get a good interview, and I would I'd sleep at the office just so I could get up early and be at work to upload it. Back in the day, back when that was like a thing, like I would like have to upload the video and like, you know what I mean? Like it was New York City. It would take too much time for me to go all the way on the train home and then come all the way back in the morning and blah, 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 blah. So like, you know, we were just hustling super hard.
I did see that you still do interviews, but like respect, because after so many years of like, you know, getting stood up on and stuff like that, like it could take a toll on you. And yeah, just respect that, you know, you're still kind of doing it, right? Well, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Like I told you in the beginning, I went up to Gary and I told him I'm going to interview Mike Boyd. And then he interrupted me and he said that he'll see the interview somehow, right? Be honest. Be honest. Like, what are the chances of Gary Vee actually seeing this and going through with that?
He'll see it. Yeah, he'll see it.
But he has like a million things that he sees every day. He has people tweeting at him, DMing him, freaking TikToking him, if that's even a thing. But yeah, he has too many things like going on in his day.
Well, I mean, he sees what I do.
Okay, cool.
I'm one of the people he watches, just like there's people I watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta just like you gotta listen. It's like what Gary says all the time. Like, it's all about listening. That's how I find artists, is I listen. Okay,
man. Well, hopefully Gary somehow sees this, and he goes through with what he told me at A3C. But if not, yo, Mike, I still really appreciate you. And is it okay if I can send you like a link to my best video just so you could like check it out in your downtime?
What video is it?
I want to show you behind the scenes video. It doesn't have as much views as the other ones, but I feel like you'll enjoy it more.
Okay, which one is it? I was watching some of your stuff.
Really? Okay. I made this video called "How Not to Network."
I saw it.
You saw that one? Okay. Let me think. I just want to send you something good. You know, something that's really good. How about I send you one of my Facetime interviews? I want to send you the one that I did with Ronnie J.
I saw it.
Oh my god, that's so cool. Okay. Let me think.
Just send me a new one when you get a new one.
Okay, I'm making a video called "How I Met Gary Vee," so maybe I could send you that one.
Oh shit! Yeah, I definitely want to see that.
Okay, fine. I'm gonna send you that one. But yo, I really appreciate it, and we'll talk soon. Okay.
All right. Cool.
Cool. Thanks.
All right. Peace.
Peace. Bye. Yo guys, thank you for watching that video. I'm gonna get straight into it. Yo, Gary Vee, I would still really love to interview you for KTO. I just want to ask about your music life, and I will be in New York in January, so you know, let's make that happen, man. Please tag him on our Instagram, which is @KidsTakeOverIG, and otherwise, yo, it is time for the top comment. So on the last video, Dave Marks commented, "My guy got the ideas, the strategy, the hustle, and the finesse. Fire video as always, and I can't wait to see these go down." Yo, well, you saw the Mike Boyd interview go down. Now let's make this Gary Vee one happen. So please support the channel, you know, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video.